Hello, and welcome to Remembering Our Generations. This is episode number 10 with my wonderful co-host for rock and roll historian, Vince Lupo. Vince, how are you doing?
Hi,
We're going to be talking all about
I'm doing really
ABBA,
good today.
talking about ABBA today. And,
Woohoo!
the reason I thought it would be fun is because, last time we did the Bee Gees, and, interestingly enough, the Bee Gees and ABBA, because they came out around the same time, they both get lumped into disco and pop music more than probably what they. Um,
That's right.
so I thought, okay, that's kind of a next logical episode. So that's why we're talking about ABBA. Let's get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was really cool to find. Now, remember, again, folks, and I was not a big ABBA fan. I liked them.
Yeah.
I liked them, but I wasn't a fan like some people I know. And in fact, I know a guy in a band that I'm with, not somebody from San Diego, who is such a huge ABBA fan. He goes to the tribute concerts. He sees the movies. He knows all the lyrics. He's crazy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But
They're out
I
there.
understand fandom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the fandom. And many of the songs, a gal that I dated long ago, well over 30 years ago, was a big ABBA fan and had me sit down and listen. And it's sparkling music, so well produced. And of course, back then when they came out, they explained they're Swedish and they do the phonetic singing in English. You'd never know they weren't English
Yeah. Yeah.
speakers.
Yeah.
You'd
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah, and what's interesting is until I did the research for the episode today, I did not realize that ABBA's actually two married couples. They're now both divorced, but they continue to work together up until this very day.
Yeah, same here. When I read that, who was married to who, and then I did read a little further. It split them up in the long run, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah,
So this is the way the business is and how life works. But they seem like super nice people and very talented people.
yeah. And see, what ABBA,
Very
I'm
talented.
like you. I
Benny's
kind of have the
amazing.
same experience, Vince, with ABBA. Not a huge fan, but to sit here and say I'm not a fan of some of the music, I'm probably like you aware of like all the greatest hits. And the thing about ABBA, I think, the reason they came on my radar was, of course, 1970s disco craze, like we were talking about. The Bee Gees were king. We had
Sure.
Saturday Night Fever. ABBA came around the same time. Interesting thing about ABBA is it's not just their music that's so over the top. It's the image, it's the look, it's the sound,
Right.
even the costumes.
Right.
I kind of say the costumes were somewhat like very reminiscent of like the big costumes that Kiss would wear on stage. Besides just the Kiss makeup, they would get dressed up in these elaborate costumes. I was reading the costumes were so elaborate in ABBA's case that they actually had to get them insured in case one of the costumes broke or something.
Sure. That lame look, that silky lame look, became like their signature sparkles, headdresses, all these different things. I do remember when they came out. I think it was around 74-ish,
Yeah,
75. Waterloo. That just exploded
that's the song that
off
broke
the
them.
radio.
Yeah, and
Exactly. And you know what? That's not a disco song. That's a shuffle.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And now let's get into that a
But
little.
very
Yeah,
energetic.
let's get into that, Vince, because
Go ahead.
actually, what I was reading as far as the breakthrough for ABBA, it was actually ABBA won the Eurovision Song Contest in 1974, as you said, with the song Waterloo.
Right,
That is the very song that broke them.
right.
And
That's right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say,
Okay.
many people, I dare say that, probably ABBA was probably the first international Swedish band to really kind of gain that kind of attention, at that point.
The Hep Stars.
Yeah.
For any of you who doesn't know, us doing the research, Benny had the Hep Stars. They even made their own record label, and so they were kind of became known as the Swedish Beatles at the time. They were so popular,
Yeah, yeah.
and they would cover the songs from England or even America, and they just became this sensation. Even folks, I know you all know Mamma Mia.
Yeah, yeah.
Mamma Mia, that's there's two movies. It's like they wouldn't die. So they keep on coming back in the form of these movies. Their music still endures. It's very charming. If you like that sort of thing, and even if you don't, I defy you to not tap your toe to some of this stuff or know some of those lyrics just because they're infused in your brain.
Oh, sure.
You
You know,
know,
and
well,
Vince,
they're just such a fun group.
yeah, 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 it really was fun. I mean, the one thing you can say about ABBA, it's good time music. I mean, you don't have a single song that's gonna depress you. It's all stuff you can dance to, get down to, boogie, whatever you want to do. Now, the interesting thing I didn't realize is kind of probably a lot of people wondered over years. I wonder how they came up with the name ABBA. Well, ABBA, interestingly enough, is consisted of the first letter of each of their first names. So, for example, ABBA stands, okay, so the members were Agnetha Falstad, Bjorn Ulvaeus, Benny
Right,
Anderson,
right,
and Annie Frid,
right,
who is often referred to as Frida. Okay, make it simple for people, right?
right.
Yeah.
That's
So,
right. That's right. And it's also a musical term. For those of you that are not familiar with music, ABBA is also, sorry, not musical. It's a rhyming scheme.
sure, sure. Yeah,
So you end with a line A, then you a different word is B, right? Then
yeah.
the third line ends with that same theme, and then the fourth line it ends like the first line is. So it's a rhyming scheme that some guys use in writing music.
And great way to market
So
the band,
it's,
you know,
it's,
as far
it's
as branding and stuff like that, you know, merchandising of the band. ABBA, you see that name, that logo, you immediately know what it is. You know, you don't even have to see the band. Okay, ABBA, we know what that is. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah,
As far as some of the songs go, one of the ones that sticks out to me as far as its unusualness and its major song for being unusual, Fernando.
yeah.
Very weird song. It has that South American feel to it, and that's not disco.
No,
But
no,
yet they're known mostly for that driving disco thing in many of their songs. You know, that
yeah.
four on the floor, they
Now,
call that with the kick.
now, Vince, let's go down just for people that are even out there that consider themselves to be a casual ABBA fan like you and me, maybe. You'll know these songs. Okay, these are the hits. Dancing Queen, Mamma Mia,
Oh, of course.
Take a Chance on Me, Fernando, as you mentioned, SOS, Knowing Me, Knowing You, The Winner Takes It All, Waterloo, of course, Chiquita, and Super Trooper.
You know, when you think about all of the list of those songs, they are one of the biggest selling artists of all time.
Yeah, yeah.
Biggest. So crossing, and remember, because they're Swedish, there are a lot of European people buying their music. A lot of Americans bought their music when they arrived here. It totally exploded for them. But still, they're legends back
In
home.
fact,
They're
in fact,
legends in Europe.
in fact, Vince, to kind of capture what you're saying here, I was able to find out as far as their chart success in the United Kingdom, um, Europe, of course, we're talking here. They had 9 number one hit singles on the UK charts.
That's right. You know, you mentioned the first one is one of the first is Dancing Queen. Now
Yeah,
that falls into the disco
sure, sure.
realm. SOS can also be disco. It's kind of rocky, but
Yeah.
it's in the disco vein. There's a few of those that are really truly in that disco vein, and Dancing Queen, of course, dancing is in the title.
You know, when I think of
Those
ABBA,
sorts of
that's the
things.
song. That's my go-to song, "Dancing Queen." You know, that's the song that really kind of takes me back to the ABBA craze. Now, if we want to break down the U.S. chart um, position, let's do it. Okay, "Dancing Queen." We're talking about the U.S. here. Hit number one in the U.S. "Take a Chance on Me" that hit number three on the U.S. chart. "Winner Takes It All" that was number eight. Waterloo was number six. So again, Dancing Queen, as we're talking about, that was the one big number one hit in America. They had 9 number one songs though throughout Europe in the United Kingdom chart. So it's interesting where they come from. You know, originally Europe, they had much more chart success, but to say they didn't have any chart success in the U.S., that's saying something, because they were successful on both sides of the pond, I guess you could say.
Well, interesting that you mentioned those 6 or 7 songs, except for Fernando.
uh,
All of those songs have that
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that disco driving thing
Uh,
that everybody can dance to. And now, when I think about Fernando as we're talking, it maybe also it had a feeling of a hustle
uh,
where you could do couples dancing,
mhm,
like that. Just very clever lyrics, clever melodies,
mhm.
clever ways that they would construct the songs as far as verse and choruses. Just they were pop music,
Yeah.
popular music, pop music.
And then,
Very
of
good.
course, like we're talking about, their peak was during the mid 1970s disco craze. That's what they got lumped into, very much like the Bee Gees. Well, very much like the Bee Gees by the early 1980s. It says 1982 to be exact.
That's right.
Um, that is
That's
when
right.
the band split up initially, and both couples got divorced, and so that was kind of the end of ABBA for a while.
Now, you did a little more research than me. Why did they split up? What was the reason that the two couples split up? The real
It
reason?
didn't
Was
really
it the
go into
success?
detail. It just kind of summarized that that's what happened around that time. But it's kind
Uh,
of interesting because the more I researched, what I was able to find out is okay, the members of ABBA, as we sit here today in 2026, they're all like in their mid 70s, like close to 80 years old, all of them. And the two guys
that's right.
continue, they're the main songwriters. The two guys continue to work on projects together. And they've also working on one of those Avatar ABBA shows, I think in London, England somewhere. It's called The Voyage or something. And all the members of ABBA work on it together. But again, the two guys are kind of the main, they continue to write music and stuff. So that's I think part of it is their age, and ABBA is one of those acts very much like Kiss, because Kiss is working on a similar type of show. Kiss has since retired, but they're putting on this Avatar. They're currently like ABBA working on putting a show together where the members of the band don't even have to show up, in the arena. They're putting on a show, a spectacle, if you will. And that's what ABBA, I understand, is currently working on together. Yeah,
Right. And if it comes out successful, it will be successful.
yeah, yeah.
People are still so into them. It's kind of mystical. It's kind of strange in its
I
own
think
way.
they're more
It's
popular in retirement because even a few years ago when they came back with and were involved with the making of the Mamma Mia movies, um, they were still kind of involved, if you know what I mean. They're much more popular
sure.
in retirement because I think there's that fear that you'll never get to see them again.
Well, it's a nostalgia. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
nostalgia. Like at my age in the 70s, when I play these 60s, 70s songs, I became the age that I was when I first heard these songs, started
Yeah, yeah,
learning
yeah,
how to
yeah.
play these songs. So it's very similar to anybody who wants to relive their youth and bring them back to good times, especially now in the status of the world. You want to feel good about something.
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
and
yeah.
musically, they make you feel good. Even if you're not a fan, they make you feel good. You can't hate them.
Yeah,
You,
no, no,
you
no,
could
no.
only like them or love them. It's that sort of thing. I mean, sure some people are just like, I don't never, but you know what? They miss out. They miss
Even when
out.
ABBA comes
I don't
on the
want to
radio
miss out.
events and I'm driving my car somewhere, I can't help but start singing "Dancing Queen" or whatever the song is, because it takes me back to the 1970s, and it's just good time music. Like I said, it's you can't help but tap your feet, if you know what I mean. It's just music to kind of rock our world to, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely. And I'm thankful that they came out when they came out. But it's even better that they've endured
Yeah.
with finding the new fans through the years, new fans through the years. They'll be around until the end of the world ends. So that's
Yeah,
that's about that.
and here's some fun trivia I came across. It said Dancing Queen actually has a royal connection. Dancing Queen was performed before King Carl the Eighth, Gustave, and Queen Sylvia on the eve of their wedding in 1976. I imagine that's a king somewhere in Europe. It didn't say specify where, but that's interesting. And then the costumes that I said had a tax benefit. Abba's famously extravagant stage costumes partially qualified as a tax deduction because they were considered unsuitable for everyday wear. Just think about that.
That's exactly right. I was just going to mention that to folks, and if you don't know, I've worn street clothes on stage.
Mhm.
For example, if I wore this shirt on stage, so what?
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to deduct it. However, there's stuff that you just can't wear out. That you can
Hmm.
wear on stage only. I've got pants in the bangers that I wouldn't be caught dead walking on the streets, but it's a costume. And so those become tax write-offs. So those are way more expensive than the stuff that I could ever
Yeah.
wear.
Yeah.
The wigs that we wear are bands, that you could wear them, but their specialty when you only wear them for what they're needed for, it's like drum equipment.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
It's just like that. You can only use it under certain circumstances. And so I've not written off a lot of clothes that I've worn on stage because jeans,
Yeah.
anybody can wear
It's
jeans
very interesting to
anywhere,
hear you
you know?
talking like this, Vince. Telling us about because you everyday music fans like myself, we don't think about stuff. So you're telling me that if you go in to the music store and you buy a couple sets of drumsticks, that's a tax write-off because it's what you do professionally.
Absolutely.
Wow, how
Yeah,
cool
but
is
that's,
that?
hey, think about it. It's under equipment and tools.
Wow, I
Equipment
love
and
that.
tools.
Yeah.
So this particular computer is the same thing. I use that as for the media shows,
Promotion, yeah.
for our talks, for listening to the music, for Spotify. So those sorts of things like Spotify or Apple Music subscriptions get written off. All these things can be a write-off if you know you learn
Yeah.
what is permissible and what is not permissible. There's a fine line. So I have done my taxes for umpteen years, and know the fine line of what you can call drumheads,
Wow.
equipment,
Wow, Vince,
sticks, or
when we were
equipment.
wow, Vince, when I got up to do this episode, I had no idea we are going to be teaching working musicians out there about tax write-offs. How cool is that? But
Uh, oh, sticks are tools.
yeah, there
Can't
you
play
go.
without them. I mean, you could, but you'd
Yeah, as we
ruin your
sit here
hands.
doing the episode, Vince, it just came to my mind that ABBA's a band that came out in the 1970s, obviously, when they were initially formed, and think about how much technology has changed since then. I mean, bands did not have things like Spotify and streaming services back then. A lot of these bands that like ABBA are kind of at their point in life when they're in retirement, they have new revenue streams, if you will, like with these streaming services and stuff. And ABBA is one of those acts that people still check out the songs. So you imagine all this extra revenue they have coming in that they didn't before.
That's right. When you think about inventions through the years, the telephone, the telegraph, the phonograph,
Mm-hmm.
and when they recorded back then, it was one crude microphone, and whoever can surround it in one room. And through time, when you listen to their music, they're recording probably on at least 8 tracks, if not
Sure, sure.
16, bouncing tracks together to open up other tracks. That's how I learned
Yeah, yeah.
to do multi-tracking. If you had an 8 track, you could make it into a 12 track, for example, just by mixing down all the drums onto 2 tracks,
Oh, yeah.
you know?
And ABBA, if you listen to the background vocals, they had like that big background vocal sound, very much like what Queen had, and
Right.
like they multi-tracked all their vocals, and so that's another fun aspect of what they do. Now you'll be surprised to learn that if anybody wants to know what's the most successful ABBA album, it was actually a greatest hits collection they put out called ABBA Gold.
Alba Gold, absolutely. I have Alba Gold. I
Yeah,
had Alba Gold, rather. And so, if you want it, because that's what people wanted to boil down, not to the filler on the albums, they want the hits. So, greatest hits albums are always big sellers from big name
Uh,
acts,
yeah,
always. Even the lesser acts sell more of the
sure.
greatest hits for people who know them, because why should I buy 5 albums for 2 songs?
Yeah.
Back in the day, that's what it kind of was. You get like 2 or 3 hits off of it. Well, these, except for Beatle albums,
Mhm.
Stones albums, had so much more depth to them. So that's when albums became a thing. Pet Sounds
Yeah.
from Beach Boys, it became a thing to listen to the full album. And but the Gold album, this album,
Yeah.
boils it all down. Here's their history. It's right there, the best of the best. You can't go wrong when you get Abba Gold if you're an Abba fan at all. And people who are out there listening know what this is all about. You get the
And just
hits.
yeah, and that's probably something I'll eventually go get Abigail because I saw it in the store the other day. I meant to grab it, but I forgot. But because I knew we were doing this, but in any event, Abigail is exactly what the casual ABBA fan would want. A guy like you and me that it's not so, we don't have every single ABBA album, but that's one we'd want to get because it's got all the hits, it's got all the songs that we hear on the radio.
You know what? You convinced me. I'm going to download it later.
Yeah, that,
No,
that's yeah.
honestly, I will. I will download that. So
That's all
this
right,
was
Vince.
so much fun. This
Take
was
care of
so much
yourself. But
fun.
let me tell you too, Vince, before we wrap it up, because a few more interesting things. We talked about the movie a little, and maybe we'll have to do a separate episode on the movie more in detail. But I also want to mention not just the movie, but they also did a musical based on the music of ABBA, that went to Broadway,
Yeah.
interestingly enough. Yeah,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And
Absolutely. When that all came out, that all brought a new love of their music to a public, like we were saying. Some relive, but now it's a reintroduction,
sure, sure.
and in a different medium. And when you get it into the sphere, now you go and you're seeing it all over the place. That's what my friend
Yeah.
saw a presentation in the sphere, and it's like it's new all over again. And I
And
think that's
yeah, yeah,
why albums keep selling,
sure.
how acts keep going. They reach new people all the time. It's great.
And then, when they release a movie and a musical, then people might start buying the albums again because ABBA's in the news. And what I
That's
love
right.
about both the musical and the movie is initially when I heard they were doing an ABBA movie, I thought, okay, it's going to be biographical. The band's actually going to be in the movie. But no, what they ended up doing is, in regards to the movie, we're going to create a movie not about ABBA or starring ABBA, but we're going to create a movie based around the music of ABBA, the songs,
Right, right, right,
and
right. It's just a good thing.
yeah, and the thing with that too, interestingly enough, you know, when they come up with this movie, I mean, okay, it's starring Meryl Streep, Pierce Bronson, Colin Firth, all named um, actors. So if you're a fan of any of these people playing in the movie, never heard of ABBA before, but you go see it because Pierce Bronson's in it or Meryl Streep, all new kind of fan base for the band, if you know what I mean.
When I read about the movie and the cast, there was an interesting thing that came up about Colin Firth. He
Yeah.
was not enthusiastic,
Uh,
not like the rest of them to
uh,
want to. He kind of forced himself to do a few things, but that was not his bag. The dancing
mm.
and all of that stuff. So he felt very uncomfortable doing it. But I'll bet you he liked the pay
now, as far as ABBA's involvement
exposure.
in, yeah, yeah, and as far as ABBA's involvement in the movie, this is what it said: ABBA members Bjorn Jonas and Benny Anderson served as executive producers and made brief cameo appearances in the movie. Although the four ABBA members attended the premiere and supported the production, they did not perform in the film. Interesting.
Well, and the good thing is they're the producers and the writers
Mm.
or the actors would get actual. No, no, no. It didn't go this way. It goes this way.
Yeah, yeah.
You have to do it this way to be more accurate,
Mhm.
and that made them happy, I'm sure. And the films are beyond successful.
Yeah, and then
That's
this
a
is what it
wonderful, to do
yeah,
too.
yeah, and a few more fun facts about the movie. It said most of the exterior scenes were filmed in the Greek islands, and it said Pierce Brosnan prior to Mamma Mia had very little singing experience. I think we could kind of hear that, but that was part of the joke, in the film.
That was part of the whole thing. Yeah, that's a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling when you're out of your element. But look at
Yeah,
the rewards it reaps for all of
yeah,
us. We can either laugh with it or laugh at it, you know?
yeah.
So good stuff. Good stuff.
Okay, now as far as just before we wrap it up, Vince, because I know people are going to want to know what are they doing today. Well, it said ABBA in 2021, the group reunited to release Voyage, their first new studio album in nearly 40 years. Now, to be honest, I didn't have the time to take to listen to that. Maybe that's something we have to do down the line. But just think about that first
Mhm.
new music in 40 years. Yeah,
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on in the music industry like that.
yeah,
People who are doing albums as a last hurrah,
yeah.
let's say. And I'm just going to, in a bittersweet note, I'm friends or were friends way back in the day with the band Twisted Sister,
Oh, wow.
and they could not carry on with Dee because Dee
Yeah,
has some health issues.
sure.
And Jay, who was the leader of the band, a friend of mine, they went out and got this
Sebastian
Sebastian
Bach.
Bach, who was
Yeah.
always a fan, and he they offered her to him, and he jumped at it. So they're going to do a 50th reunion tour. But this is what we're talking about. We're talking about reliving
Sure.
the music. And through ABBA is a perfect example. That's why it keeps going, and they keep finding new people as fans. Uh, Oh, wow. I didn't know that this was existing. I hear it for the first time. Some 25-year-old goes, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's great how music works, how
Yeah.
it soothes the soul, how it joy makes you joyful, makes you remember
Wow,
fond
wow,
things
Vince, who would
as
have
well,
known
you know.
you had a Twisted Sister connection, man? I was such a fan of the band back in the day, and I got to tell you, when the news broke that Dee Snider was leaving Twisted Sister, like a lot of people, I initially thought there's no way they can get anybody to replace him. But I got to tell you, I think Sebastian Bach is the one guy that can do it.
Well, they said that this
Yeah,
band, the 60s, I don't know if you can see that,
yeah, yeah.
played at the same time, started at the same time that they did. We had our 50th anniversary just on May 27th, our very first gig. The two bands played at the same venues on Long Island, and then we all branched out. So I've been backstage to them, they've been backstage for us. We even played shows together where they would
Wow.
do a set, we would do a set. They would do, we would do. So these are guys that they've lost a couple of members or through time, through death,
Sure.
and so what we're really talking about, folks, to not to get off the track, is the memories that somebody can re-record or record something new for you, but really steers you back to all the old stuff, all the
Oh,
old
sure,
memories.
sure,
Gee, I
absolutely.
wonder if
Yeah,
they're as good as they were. I wonder if they sound the same, if they have that same energy. Well,
yeah,
we're all aging as we go, and whatever this new album is like, which I have not heard, it's going to be interesting to listen to Voyager,
yeah, yeah.
just to see the
And
evolvement.
yeah. And the final thing on ABBA today is in regards to the Avatar show, I understand they are building an ABBA arena in London, England, specifically for the show.
Oh,
Can you imagine
I can
being a
imagine.
band and you have your own arena? Wow.
That's because certain things they wanted to show certain things or highlight certain
Yeah,
things for the production of the show. So the staging becomes the production as
yeah,
well as just what you see in the actors or moving around and the musicians singing and playing. It's a whole
yeah,
experience. That's
yeah.
what
It
the
really
Sphere
is.
does. It brings you into the experience. It's great, man.
I mean, like every episode,
Great
Vince,
episode.
every episode you bring us into your drum room where you make all that noise happen. I want to let people know next time, Vince, it's going to be real fun because
Can you
we're
see
going to do
it?
something. Yeah. Oh, wow. There's a man at work. Wow.
This is it. This is
That's
it.
a
Well,
big
that's part
tax
of
write
it.
off there. Yeah.
There's
And,
there's a
and
lot of
so,
other stuff.
yeah. So Vince, what I was getting ready
Anyway,
to say is, what we're going to do a little different next time is we're going to be talking about the Rolling Stones, but it's not going to be so much going back and talking about nostalgia. They have a new album coming out in around July 13th. So when we do the next episode, it'll be mid-July, and we're going to be talking about, of course, classic Rolling Stones. They've been doing it over 50 years, probably 60 at this rate. But anyways, we're going to be talking all about the new album. Pretty exciting.
64 years, by the way. They came out in 62, and I don't know anything about them. Ha ha ha. Ha.
Yeah,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, 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 right.
You'll find out about all of that the next time we get together.
Rock and
Good
roll
stuff, kiddo.
historian Vince Lupo himself signing off. And I think Vince, too, before we do that, maybe we'll do a bonus episode since we've done 10 episodes. I'd like to kind of look back with you and get nostalgia about our very own show here. Okay.
Oh,
Take
I
care.
like that idea. That's cool. Let's
Okay.
swing it. I love it.
Okay. Take care, my
Great.
friend. Have a great day.
Okay, kiddo. Bye, kids.